All right, the next question is from Mark Lee, and he writes, is there a general rule of thumb on how much discounts that you can be negotiated or that can be negotiated off a vacant property or lease expiry?
That's actually a really good question, and depending on when you've asked me that question, I probably would have gave a different answer. 5 years ago, I would have said a vacant property, typically 10 to 15% off you can get. So that's where you can make the money, because you buy it vacant, you can put a new tenant in there and make that 10, 15%. The negatives with buying a vacant property is you do have to have the extra 10% GST. So even though you can get that back on your first BAS statement, it's a bit more cash in the game because you don't have rent coming in. So your serviceability is probably less. So you need to have a higher serviceability. You've got to have the extra cash to be able to pay for the GST. And that's where the value add came. But as I mentioned previously, owner-occupied markets are quite hot at the moment. So a lot of the areas I'm buying, there's no benefit by buying a vacant property or even a lease expiring. Like the lease expiring, that's actually an opportunity for those owner-occupiers to come in as well. So it's not the same as where it was. If you ask me in 12 months' time, it might be a different answer again as well. But yeah, generally not as much discount as you think in some of the hot markets.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You should try and get a discount. You should definitely try and negotiate anything you can. 10 to 15% would be a great result. And you've also got to add in your lease up costs as well. So make sure you know how much it's going to cost you to put a tenant in and try and get that off the purchase price. But buying vacant property is a lot more of a riskier strategy for an investor that has a lot of capital backing them, because if you've got it wrong, you're buying a problem. You're buying prolonged vacancy. So why is that property vacant in the first place? Is there a demand for it? So I'd say first understand the demand for the property in the area. Try and tee up a tenant before you go under contract, and then you can buy 10, 15% on a discount with also the lease up costs removed as well. And then day one of owning that property, you can put a tenant in there. That'd be the best way to do it, I think. And yeah, there's no rule of thumb. Just try and negotiate as low a price as you can. Yeah,
I've actually got a few clients at the moment that we do this strategy for. However, we're buying these properties cash, and that's typically where we get the discount. It's because we go in with a cash unconditional offer. We're not subject to finance and due diligence, and that's where you can get the 5, 10, 15%, because the seller knows if they go onto a conditional offer, it could fall over in 2 months' time from a short valuation, or they find something they don't like, or the buyer doesn't get finance, for instance. So going in cash is really strong in this market.
Yeah, definitely. It always has been.